So for somebody who's never really experienced it, or they're considering a coach, but they have no idea what to expect, how would you explain the process to somebody who's completely new to this and who might be thinking about coaching, but they want to understand the process, what the inputs are going to be, what will they get out of it? How would you explain it to that, to a layman?
I love that question. And I get that question a lot because you don't know something and you want to understand what is step one, what is step two, what is step three. And I got to a point where I stopped answering that because you never know what is going to come out of a session. So to risk oversimplifying it by saying, okay, step one, I'm going to ask you some questions about yourself. We're going to contract. Contracting is very important in coaching. In any conversation, really, even a business conversation, is what is the purpose of the conversation and what is it that you want to get out of it? But here's the conundrum, or here's the catch rather, is you only know what you know when you walk into a coaching space. So to ask someone what they want out of it without them knowing what else is out there is limiting the conversation. So a lot of people will come to a coach and there's a few specific things over the years that I've picked up that people want. Is they want money, they want more money. That's usually the first. Or they want career growth. And sometimes it's relationships. They want to find somebody or they want to improve their marriage or their relationship with their children. But those are the usual cases. But then when you start really questioning the why, the purpose behind that, and start to go into the intention behind all these wants, it opens up a whole other story. And that's when it starts getting interesting. And it's really about holding the space. And what I mean by that is it's allowing an environment where someone can be heard and they can speak freely, because a lot of the time people don't know what it feels like to really be heard. Because in a conversation, even just a friendly conversation, you're thinking about, while the person's talking, you're thinking about how you're going to respond. You know, there could be things in your head that you're going through, like grocery lists, or, oh, I forgot to do this at the home, or I've got this email I had to send to someone at work. But to give people the experience of really, really being heard changes the story and it changes the game. And suddenly so much can come out and you don't know what, even as a coach, I don't know what could come out from one session to the next. So in terms of step by step, it's almost limiting to predict what could happen next because you just don't know. And that also is what makes it very uncomfortable because it's very uncertain. Coaches who make, okay, I'm generalizing here, but there are a lot of coaches who make a lot of money because they sell certainty. Here's 5 steps to becoming a millionaire. Here's 7 steps to get the body that you want. Here's 8 steps to finding your true love. It doesn't work like that. Life is not linear. You could take step one and life could throw something at you and you jump to step 8 and something else could happen and you jump to step 3.5. So it's very much self-exploratory. However, having said that, in certain situations, you do need a little bit more structure. So in business context with executive coaching or leadership coaching, you do want to see progression and you do want to see some kind of measurement in terms of a person's growth and their confidence, in terms of their career progression and things like that. So it can be very specific. And like you said earlier, that there are so many avenues of coaching. There's finance coaching and there's relationship coaching, family coaching, and each one of those will have its own structure and own expectations and own outcomes. But the point is, what are the expectations? That's always the first thing. Because if the expectation is about money, then that's going to limit the conversation to money and nothing else. It's just my perspective and my opinion. If you had to ask 10 other coaches, they might give you 10 other answers. And you should. You should ask 10 other coaches because it's important to get a lot of voices in the room around this because one cannot dictate what it is. And I encourage people to see and try out different people because you never know what you could learn from different people. And even the clients that I've had for years and years and years, I encourage them to stop seeing me so that they can then inculcate what they've learned and find their own path and not rely on me. and also for them to see other people and to learn from other experiences.
Yeah, I think we're obsessed with certainty. We live in an environment where we always have to be in the know. Not knowing is seen as a weakness. So if you go for a job interview, they ask you a whole bunch of questions and they expect you to have the answers. And if you don't have the answers, then that's not a great interview. So that's how we brought up. And just referring back to the schooling that we have, that's how the schooling system works as well, is that you got to have the answers. So that's the expectation, is that when we seek help, we also want that formula. It's a scientific approach because that's how science is. It's reliable, it's predictable, but every person is an individual. And if the coach really wants to help that person and to bring out their perspective and what they're going through, then it is an uncertain journey. And as long as the expectation is there of knowing what they want to get out, you can use it as almost a guiding light, but not something that carves a specific path. But as long as you know that you're moving in the right direction, I suppose each person then has to decide whether it's working for them, whether it's meeting their expectations. And like you said, that maybe there's other alternatives that they must actually pursue as well, because not everybody's built the same.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to think about in the process.